Hello, friend, and welcome back to Feel Good Alcohol Free. I'm Lindsay, sober coach and founder of Feel Good AF, a 13-week group program for high-achieving women who want to let go of shame, reclaim their confidence, and quit drinking for good. As always, I'm so glad you're here. You know why? Because it means you are taking time for yourself, time to explore a change you want to make in your life, time to be open to new ideas and ways of doing things, time to reflect, and time to learn. I'm excited about today's episode because this one covers an exact point where so many women tell me they got to in their relationship with alcohol, and it mirrors my own story. I'm guessing that you may connect with it too. You know, I loved having a career. I was climbing the ladder fast and I gave it everything. I was the first one in the office, the first one on a plane when a client needed something, and I was always prepared, reliable, respected, the one people counted on. At first, I had it dialed. I drank socially. I had solid coping tools and I never let stress slow me down. But as I rose higher in my career, first as head of marketing and then as a global director, managing teams around the world, my workload multiplied, and so did the pressure. Happy hours became more frequent. The early workouts? Fewer and farther between. Eventually, I was traveling constantly, entertaining clients, always on. When I'd finally get home, the only thing I wanted was my couch, a remote, and a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. That bottle turned into my ritual, my reward, my coping mechanism. Weekends alone became what I told myself was recharging. But let's be honest. It wasn't just me and the wine. I got divorced, I got promoted, and somewhere in the chaos, the grief of not becoming a mother by 32 really hit me hard. Wine helped me forget, until it didn't. I still looked like I had it all together. I hit yoga on the weekends, green juice in hand, but I was unraveling. I saw it in my reflection. Dry skin, puffy eyes, the yellowing whites of my eyes. I canceled plans. I blamed work, told myself I just needed a quiet night in. But the truth is, I was stuck in a cycle, a treadmill I couldn't step off, always moving, never progressing. Do you know how that feels? And the view never changed. If this is resonating, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about how burnout and alcohol quietly become partners in crime for high-achieving women, and what it takes to actually break that cycle without giving up your ambition, your edge, or yourself. The burnout pattern. So let's break this down a bit. Burnout isn't just being tired. It's a real state of emotional exhaustion where even the smallest tasks start to feel overwhelming. You might feel more irritable than usual, less patient, or like you've lost that spark that used to make you feel good about your work. Burnout also comes with cynicism. Maybe you used to be the one saying, let's figure this out. And now you're silently thinking, what's the point? Or you're dragging yourself through your days wondering how you became so numb to the things you used to care about. And finally, it comes with this sneaky loss of accomplishment. You might still be doing everything, checking the boxes, hitting deadlines, but it never feels like enough. You don't feel proud. You just feel depleted. For high achievers, it's even trickier to spot because the behaviors that cause burnout are often the same ones that got you success in the first place. Perfectionism, over-delivering, always being on, saying yes when you want to say no, working when you're sick, tired, or running on fumes. You push yourself because that's what you've always done, and you get rewarded for it. Promotions, praise, more responsibility. But that pattern also becomes a trap. And when you layer alcohol on top of that, it feels like a shortcut to relief, a way to quiet the mind, take the edge off, or just feel something other than pressure for 5 minutes. The problem is, it doesn't solve the burnout. It just numbs it. And then the cycle deepens because after a night of drinking, you're not waking up fresh and focused. You're groggy, foggy, maybe even anxious. So you procrastinate. You avoid the hard conversations, delay the project that needs your best thinking, skip the workout that would have helped your mood. But the deadlines and expectations don't go away. They start stacking up. And now you're behind, which creates more pressure, which leads to more stress. And that makes you crave even more relief at the end of the day. So you drink again. And round you go. Burnout doesn't just stick around. It stretches out. It becomes your new normal. You don't even remember what it feels like to feel good anymore. You're used to operating at 30 or 40%. You start snapping more often. You're tossing and turning at night. You can't focus. Your motivation tanks. You're in back-to-back meetings all day, and by the time you close your laptop, your first instinct is to pour a drink. Not because you're out of control, but because your nervous system is fried and you have nothing else left in the tank. If you're hearing this and you're thinking, this is my life, stay with me. This next part is where things are going to start to shift. We're going to talk about when alcohol goes from reward to routine. At first, it feels innocent, even earned. That glass of wine becomes a reward at the end of a long day. It's the signal that you've made it through the meetings, the emails, the expectations. It marks the transition from doing to relaxing. And for a while, it works. You feel a little looser, a little lighter. You can finally exhale for the day. But over time, that reward starts to shift into a response. Instead of choosing a drink, you need one to cope, to calm down, to check out. It's not just Thursday night happy hours anymore. It's weekends and weeknights. Then it's hard to remember the last day you didn't drink. The brain starts linking alcohol with stress relief, which trains your nervous system to reach for it automatically anytime pressure shows up. It's like your body stops asking, what do I need? And just goes straight to the wine to fix it. But alcohol doesn't actually reduce stress. It numbs your stress response temporarily, and then it makes it worse. Physiologically, it disrupts your sleep. Even if you crash hard at first, your body rebounds in the early hours of the morning, spiking cortisol and leaving you wide awake at 3 a.m. Whole other episode on that. It messes with your blood sugar and it dehydrates you, which throws off your energy and focus the next day. It can make anxiety worse, not better. Emotionally, it chips away at your resilience. The very thing you're drinking to escape, stress, sadness, overwhelm, comes roaring back stronger the next day. And because you haven't had a chance to actually process it, it starts to feel like it's piling up on top of you. Alcohol gives this illusion of rest, but it's robbing you of real recovery. And when you're already burned out, that difference matters, and not insignificantly. It matters a lot. So let's talk about why this cycle feels so hard to break. For so many high-achieving women, yes, that includes us, alcohol quietly sneaks in as the only coping tool that they allow themselves. It's not because we're unaware of healthier options or that we don't want to take care of ourselves. It's because the relentless pressure to perform, to be perfect, to always show up on, leaves almost no room for anything else. We hold ourselves to sky-high standards, juggle demanding careers, relationships, social expectations, and maybe even caregiving roles. When the day is done, the last thing we want is more effort, more decisions, more rules, more shoulds. Alcohol shows up as this familiar friend who promises to turn the volume down on the noise, to take the edge off, to help us finally exhale. And because it's legal, socially accepted, and easy to access, it often becomes the go-to relief valve. But here's the catch. It's a temporary fix disguised as a solution. The more we lean on it, the less space we create for the real tools that build resilience. Things like rest, boundaries, self-compassion, and emotional regulation. So it becomes a cycle. Alcohol becomes the only coping tool we trust, not because it's the best, but because it's the easiest way to numb out after pushing ourselves so hard all day. And when that's your only coping strategy, breaking free feels overwhelming. You don't cancel meetings. You don't ask for help. You push through the exhaustion, the overwhelm, the pressure, because that's what you've always done. But somewhere along the way, drinking became your one helpful way to wind down. And it worked until it didn't. Now, even thinking about stopping feels complicated. If you can't imagine life without alcohol, chances are you'll never have one. It's like trying to walk a path you've never seen. Your brain resists because it's uncomfortable to step into the unknown. When I was in the depths of stress with work and life, wine felt like my safety net. I couldn't picture how to unwind, how to truly relax, or how to celebrate without it. The good and the bad. I couldn't picture it. The thought of evenings or weekends without that ritual was unsettling, almost terrifying to me. It felt like losing a part of my identity, like I wouldn't know how to be myself or handle the pressure of my day-to-day life. But here's what I learned. The only way out is through that imagination barrier. We have to start picturing what life looks like on the other side. Not just dry, but vibrant, energized, and fully alive. I started by imagining mornings when I woke up clear-eyed, nights when I fell asleep easily without the fog, and weekends filled with genuine rest instead of numbing out on the couch. This isn't just a fantasy. It's a doorway to reclaiming your power, your peace, and your potential. If you can start to hold that vision, even in the smallest way, you're already on your way there. Because without it, how do you turn your brain off when your mind is still racing with to-do lists and unresolved conversations from the day? How do you unwind when your nervous system has been running in overdrive for so long, you've forgotten what a relaxed state even feels like? The truth is, drinking has become more than just a habit. It's become a ritual, a sign to your body and brain that the day is done, that you're allowed to finally stop performing, that you can stop holding it all together, even if just for an hour or two. Without that ritual, the idea of rest feels foreign, even scary. You might try a bath. You might cue up a meditation, but it's not the same. Your body doesn't feel the release. Your mind keeps spinning. So you default back to what has worked. Wine, cocktails, whatever's in the fridge. Because at least then you know you'll get some kind of relief. Now, that's the double bind. Alcohol is both the relief and the reason you're so tightly wound up to begin with. It's stealing your resilience, but it's also the only way you know how to soothe yourself. And that's why the thought of quitting feels so overwhelming. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you've been using a very human solution to survive a superhuman pace of life. So then the shame creeps in. I'm smart. Should have figured this out. You lead teams, you crush deadlines. You're the one people look up to. So why can't you just stop? The truth is, alcohol didn't become your default because you're weak. It became your default because you've never been given permission to fall apart. And this felt like the only way to hold it together. Add in the mental gymnastics. I deserve this. And this is the only thing that helps me relax. Everyone else drinks too. I'm not that bad. That kind of inner dialogue can help keep you stuck for years. Not because you're in denial, but because you're trying to make it make sense. You're trying to function, keep performing, and carry the weight of your life, all while using a substance that quietly drains your ability to handle it. And underneath it all is a fear you might not even say out loud. It might sound something like, what if I quit drinking and I can't handle my life? What if the pressure gets worse? What if I lose my edge? What if I can't sit with the grief, the loneliness, the disappointment I've been pushing down? My friend, that fear is valid because alcohol hasn't just been a habit, it's been a shield, a pause button you've desperately needed when everything felt too raw, too loud, too overwhelming. It's the softening filter between you and the sharp edges of your life, the deadlines, the expectations, the loneliness, the quiet ache of things unspoken or unresolved. It's allowed you to keep going when you felt like you might break, to show up and perform even when the inside you were exhausted and fraying at the seams. So it's no wonder the idea of letting go feels so terrifying. It feels like stepping into a storm without armor, like exposing yourself to all of the discomfort, all the feelings, all the chaos you've been shielding yourself from. That fear isn't just in your head. It's rooted in the very real need to survive and keep functioning in a world that demands so much. And acknowledging that fear is the first courageous step towards healing. Because when you honor what's been protecting you, you'll create space to replace it with something stronger and more sustaining. That fear isn't just in your head. It's rooted in the very real need to survive and keep functioning in a world that demands so much. Okay, if this feels heavy right now, that's okay. Breathe into it. Recognize the weight you've been carrying, the shield you've been holding up to protect yourself. You're not alone in feeling this way. And that awareness, it's the first courageous step towards something better. Here's what I want you to know. That fear you're holding, it's also the doorway to clarity, to confidence, to peace that doesn't come from a pour. It's the beginning of learning how to truly care for yourself, not just push through. It's where you finally stop performing and start becoming the woman you were always meant to be. You don't have to walk through it alone, but you do deserve to find out what's on the other side. Okay. This has been a lot today. So let's move into something I know you've been waiting for. How do we change and how do we shift from alcohol being the relief to not even thinking about it as a solution anymore? Burnout doesn't need more pushing. It doesn't need you to grit your teeth harder, muster up more willpower, or squeeze another hour out of an already impossible schedule. What it really needs is restoration, not sedation. You can't fix burnout by numbing it with a drink, a scroll, or any quick escape that just puts a Band-Aid over a broken bone. Burnout is your body and brain screaming for real, consistent care. The kind that replenishes your energy, calms your nervous system, and rebuilds your capacity to handle life's demands. It's about listening to those quiet signals before they become emergencies. It's about honoring yourself enough to slow down, set boundaries, and rebuild from a place of deep rest and true support, not from the relentless hustle or the next distraction. Because healing burnout isn't a weakness. It's the bravest, most radical act of leadership you can show yourself and everyone who depends on you. So, how do you start? How do you rebuild your resilience instead of just numbing the pain? There are 3 core areas to focus on: real rest, clear boundaries, and emotional regulation that rewires your nervous system. Let's break those down and talk about what they actually look like in the life of a high-achieving woman just like you. Okay, here we go. Step 1, build real resilience, not just grit. Grit got you here, but it won't get you out. Resilience isn't about pushing through. It's about knowing when to pause, when to breathe, when to take your foot off the gas without spiraling into panic. This starts with rest, and not just the kind where you lie on the couch with Netflix and wine. I'm talking about intentional, quality rest that actually restores your nervous system. Sleep, stillness, disconnecting from screens, letting yourself be bored for a minute. It also means setting boundaries you've been avoiding, like closing your laptop by 6 p.m., saying no to back-to-back meetings, or not checking your email the second you open your eyes. And it means learning emotional regulation. So you're not just reacting or spiraling when stress shows up. This is where nervous system work comes in: breath work, somatic practices, journaling, coaching, getting out of your head and into your body so you can actually process stress instead of store it. Okay, my favorite one, step 2, stop white knuckling. Start receiving. You don't have to prove you can do it all alone. In fact, that belief is part of what's burning you out, Support isn't weakness, it's strategy. I want you to build your team. When women join my programs, they are often shocked at how much they exhale once they stop trying to fix everything themselves. The pressure lifts. They start to feel like themselves again. And not because life got easier, but because they finally had the right tools and the right kind of support. Okay. Step 3, redefine what high performance looks like. You don't have to destroy yourself to be excellent. So often high achievers believe that success means sacrifice, the sacrifice of sleep, peace, relaxation, relationships, and sometimes even health. But that's a lie. Excellence doesn't require exhaustion. It doesn't demand numbing out or pushing yourself to the edge until something breaks. You can lead with intention and presence, not just endurance. You can create powerful work that moves the needle without feeling like you're running on empty. You can thrive, not just survive. And you can do all of that with clear eyes, seeing yourself and your life honestly without the fog of stress or alcohol clouding your view. You can experience deep rest that truly replenishes you, not just a surface level pause. You can hold your own boundaries and treat yourself with the self-respect you deserve, the kind that doesn't come from proving how much you can handle, but from knowing your worth independent of performance. Burnout and alcohol do not have to be your story forever. There is another way to live and lead that's sustainable, joyful, and deeply satisfying. It starts with choosing yourself even when it feels scary. And when you're ready, you don't have to figure it out alone. When I started doing this work myself, really embodying these steps, it was not graceful. I had built a life around being the woman who could handle it. And shifting out of that pattern felt like losing control at first. The truth was, my version of rest used to be collapsing at the end of the day with wine and a scroll hole. Boundaries felt impossible. I was used to saying yes to everything and then quietly resenting it. Even the idea of slowing down made me feel anxious, like I was falling behind. But once I stopped trying to outwork the discomfort and started learning how to be with it, that's when everything changed for me. I began creating from a place of clarity, not chaos. My energy got cleaner. My relationships deepened. My work became more impactful because I wasn't dragging myself through it anymore. I was building something from alignment, not from some survival mode. That's the shift I want for you. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And the first step is deciding you're worth that kind of life. Okay, you know I have a homework assignment for you. This is your first step towards some real change. I want to offer you 4 simple but powerful exercises this week. They're designed to build awareness, set boundaries, calm your nervous system, and start imagining a new way of living. Also, you don't need to grab your pen and paper because I've included them in a blog post that you can find on my website at the Feel Good AF blog. It's also linked in the show notes here. Okay, the first one, the stress and sip journal. For 3 days, I want you to track when stress hits and when alcohol feels like the answer. No judgment, just honest noticing. Awareness is the first step. Okay, the second one, boundary quick wins. Choose one small boundary to set. Maybe no emails after 7 p.m. or saying no to one extra commitment. Notice how that feels and what sort of shifts opens up inside you. Next, mindful pause practice. Take 3 minutes once a day to pause, breathe, scan your body, or just sit quietly. It's about rewiring your stress response. Okay, the last one, the biggest one. Imagine your next level self. Write a letter from your future self, the woman who leads, creates, and thrives without burnout or alcohol. What advice does she have for you? You don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to start. Small steps are adding up to big change, my friend. If alcohol has become your default way to manage stress, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what better questions could you be asking? What if there is a way to lead, perform, and thrive without burning yourself out or relying on a drink to unwind? If you're ready to step into that next level version of yourself with clear boundaries, deep rest, and true resilience, I invite you to explore this journey with with me and a community of like-minded women in my group coaching program. The best next step is to book a discovery call with me. The link is in the show notes. We'll get clear on where you are, where you want to go, and whether this is the right fit to support you in making lasting change. There are women inside my coaching containers who stepped through the fear and are rising up. Let's get you going too. Okay, that's it for me this week. I'm honored you've listened. And hey, if this episode resonated with you, please rate it and subscribe to the podcast. This helps other women who need it find it. I believe in you, so go get started and book that call.